Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be diving into something super interesting today. We are exploring how a framework called Vue.js manages to strike the absolute perfect balance for modern web development. The web development landscape is evolving at just a breakneck pace, and developers are constantly faced with a really tough dilemma. Basically, how do you choose tools that deliver high efficiency and top-tier quality without totally making your life miserable in the process? Well, today, we are going to uncover exactly why developers keep choosing Vue to solve this exact problem, making it one of the absolute favorites across the entire tech industry. Here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. We'll start with the rise of Vue.js, unpack its core features, take a look at its integration and ecosystem, and finally explore Vue in the real world. All right, let's jump right into Section 1. The rise of Vue.js and how it found the sweet spot in front-end development. So let's rewind a bit. Picture this. It's 2014. Created by an independent developer named Evan You, Vue.js is first released to the public, and it almost immediately gains serious traction. Why? Because it offered something that developers were desperately looking for at the time, this remarkable simplicity combined with incredible versatility. It wasn't overly complicated to learn, but it certainly wasn't underpowered either. It was just right. Now, the real secret sauce of Vue lies in it being what's called a progressive JavaScript framework. And all this means is that it's designed to be incrementally adaptable. The core library focuses purely on the Vue layer, so what the user actually sees and interacts with on their screen. What's cool about this is you can just sprinkle a little bit of Vue into an existing legacy project to make, say, a single widget interactive. Or on the flip side, you can scale it all the way up to power massive, highly sophisticated single-page applications. You're never forced into some all-or-nothing commitment. Moving on to Section 2, Core Features Unpacked, let's dissect the actual mechanics of this efficiency. First up on our feature list is simplicity and flexibility. Unlike some modern tools that basically demand you learn an entirely new programming paradigm or some complex proprietary syntax, Vue just doesn't do that. A basic understanding of standard HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is literally all you need to get up and running. It features a remarkably gentle learning curve, heavily supported by what are honestly incredibly clear docs. It's highly accessible for beginners, but as we'll see in a minute, it scales up effortlessly for highly experienced developers too. Now this right here is where the magic happens, the reactivity system. When the underlying data in your app changes, Vue instantly and quietly calculates what needs to happen, and then the Vue just automatically updates for the user. Instead of writing tedious manual code to keep your data and your interface in sync, this powerful data binding mechanism does the heavy lifting for you. It ensures your application stays completely responsive with very minimal effort on your part. Next, we've got component-based architecture. This means you break down your overall application into smaller, reusable, completely self-contained units. And why does this matter? Well, think of it like treating parts of your app like a navigation bar or a shopping cart, like literal Lego blocks. It changes everything. Each component manages its own state and behavior. So this modular approach not only makes your code super reusable and way easier to maintain, but it massively simplifies testing and debugging. If one specific button is broken, you just go fix the button component. You don't have to worry about accidentally taking down the rest of the web page. To make all this run smoothly, Vue utilizes something called a virtual DOM. Instead of the notoriously slow, direct manipulations of the real DOM, Vue basically creates a lightweight blueprint in memory. So when changes happen, Vue uses this blueprint to calculate the absolute most efficient path to update the real DOM. This minimizes the number of operations required and seriously boosts overall rendering performance. It's the very definition of working smarter, not harder. Okay, Section 3, Integration and Ecosystem. Let's look at why it's called the Goldilocks framework. So when you compare Vue to big industry heavyweights like Angular and React, Vue really hits that perfect Goldilocks balance of being, well, just right. It offers a simpler learning curve and is way less strictly opinionated than Angular, making it super flexible. On the other hand, while React also focuses tightly on the Vue layer, Vue actually provides significantly more out-of-the-box features than React does, so it manages to be a much more comprehensive solution from day one without ever sacrificing that core ease of use we talked about. But it's not just the core framework itself, right? Vue is backed by an incredibly robust ecosystem and comprehensive tooling. Because of its progressive nature, you get that seamless incremental code-base integration. Plus, you're supported by a vibrant, hyperactive community providing a massive library of plugins. And developers get powerful official tools right out of the gate.
You have the Vue CLI, which completely streamlines setting up entirely new projects with a pre-configured build system. And you've got Vue DevTools, which is this fantastic browser extension that lets you do real-time in-browser inspection and modification of your components while you're coding.
Finally, let's jump to Section 4, Vue in the Real World, focusing on enterprise and mobile applications.
So, the big question, do these efficient mechanics actually work in the wild at a massive scale? Absolutely. This isn't just some niche tool for small, personal projects. Huge global enterprise companies, household names like Alibaba, Xiaomi, and Adobe rely heavily on Vue.js. They leverage its flexibility and its optimized performance to deliver incredibly dynamic single-page applications and highly complex interactive dashboards. I mean, when you're operating at the sheer scale of an Alibaba or an Adobe, performance and maintainability are literally everything, and Vue delivers on those fronts consistently. And get this, Vue's adaptability extends even further than traditional web browsers. Its progressive nature doesn't just stop at the desktop. Developers are actually using Vue for mobile app development right now. By utilizing specific frameworks like NativeScript Vue and Vue Native, you can build fully native mobile apps for both iOS and Android using the exact same standard Vue components you already know and love. It literally allows you to take your web development skills and push them directly into the mobile app stores. It is a real game changer.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. By perfectly balancing power, flexibility, and simplicity, Vue.js continues to prove it's a remarkably reliable option for both the web of today and the future. From tiny little interactive widgets to massive enterprise systems and even native mobile apps, Vue scales up or down to meet the exact challenge at hand. It leaves us with a pretty provocative question to consider about our own toolkits. In an ever-evolving web, is your front-end framework truly as adaptable as your ideas? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this as fascinating as I did. Keep learning, keep building, and I will see you next time.